off, we'll pause here and then you call back. Huh? Well, if your phone goes off, you got your phone plugged in, right? Okay, well, you don't need to move to listen to the phone. I'm saying if your phone goes off, call me right back. What I'll do is I'll call him and I'm going to call you right back, okay? So just pick the phone up when I call you back. Okay. You know something good is getting ready to happen. No, boss man, this is the same thing. It makes no better difference whether it's friend, family, or nothing. It don't make a difference. And remember, Khadijah and them haven't called, haven't for a long time. That means they come off the thing, and then they put my family on the thing. That's why. Okay. Yeah, that's all. It's no big deal. Yeah, that's why they've been calling all this time, because they took them off, and they want something to happen, and it's not happening the way they want. Of course, I know what it is. No big deal, but it's like fun.
Please leave your message for
Like this don't pick up. Yeah.
575.
Okay, so I'll call him back, and maybe his phone will go on the bug. Okay, stuff like that. But whatever it is, we're going to do this program now, and we're going to do it again later, just to make sure everybody's there. Let's see. Let's get there. No, the big transition is right here now. That's why Khadijah and them haven't called. Nothing on the phone. It has never been like that.
She's been silent about 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. I haven't seen anything.
2 or 3 weeks, okay.
Hey, Dad.
Yes.
Hey, his phone is up here in the front. That's his phone ringing up there. When you just call.
Well, where is he at then?
I don't know where he at.
And you're immobile where you can't get around to find where he's at? Assalamu alaikum? Because I have to call back. As-Sabiqun. Let's see here. Is that on right now?
Yeah, it's live.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay. We're already on the air. I want to ask you a question. Remember when you was at Folsom? Assalamu alaikum. This is pretty. Well, I'll be doggone. Okay, well, we'll get it in anyway. I am right in the middle of foiling boss man's interruptions. Don't you worry about a thing. Boss man can't get.
Message for
Boss man can't get away. Boss man ain't going nowhere. It don't make no difference. We got our finger in his behind right now. No, not a finger, foot, because that wouldn't be. It's not halal having your finger in boss man's behind. You have to have your foot in boss man's behind. No, this is a great period. This is the period right here. This is where we've been heading all along, and nobody can get away. They can't get away. You'll see. You got to see, we after them. That's why When people on the Dodge, that means you after them, right? That's what it means. Wa alaikum salam. Any news?
Yeah, my phone is just
Okay, just let me know when you finish hearing. We're on the air live right now. I want you to just answer one or two questions. Remember when you was at Folsom? You don't remember. You can't hear me. That's serious. We'll call right back. Everybody just relax on this video here. Remember, if you're getting a funny feeling by watching this, imagine if you did this for 40 years, the same exact thing. How would you feel? This is 40 years you do this. You would either get used to it, go crazy, right? Learn how to manipulate it and use it for your benefit.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Okay, I'm going to start talking. And when you stop being able to hear me, just, well, my phone will go off too. Can you hear me now? That's rare. Okay, let's do it again. We'll make 10 more times and then we'll get into the program, but we got 10 more shots. Yes. No problem. But this is enough for you to understand what I'm getting ready to say. What I'm getting ready to say, this will answer why I'm getting ready to say what I'm going to say. Just by this. Number one, the people in Oakland haven't called. You saw my list here. They haven't called. That's in over 3 weeks. Okay. So what happened is, boss man, they've been wanting to get me out there for some reason. And I'll go out there when I get ready. So they manufactured some events within my family. Now remember, my whole family is in on this. Everybody. There's nobody outside of my family that's not in on this. Some for different reasons. You remember before when my nephew's son was doing these programs? All of a sudden, remember the Iranians doing programs and, right? Okay, so that means that message that we was giving out, they didn't want that to get around. That's all. Okay, the message that we gave out last week or the other day, nobody wanted that to get around. So let me give my dear son another call. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Did you hear what I was saying?
I heard some of it.
Okay, now listen to this right here. Do you remember when you was in Folsom?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when we would come in to the visiting room? Do you remember that?
Old Folsom and new Folsom.
The last time I was visiting you, that must have been the old Folsom, right?
Yep.
We'd come in the visiting room, right?
Yep.
What would the gangsters from LA and everybody tell you?
Oh, they would always want me to let me know when your dad comes because they want to holler at you.
Right. Let them know when your father is coming up there, right?
Yeah.
So they can holler at me. That means all the leaders of all the crews inside of Folsom, California State Prison, with you, said, right? When your father comes up, let us know so they can have somebody in the visiting room to talk to me, right?
Yeah.
And that went on many times. What happened after about 5 visits later? You remember they took me off the visiting list?
Yeah.
Right. So maybe that's basically, if you can still hear me, that's all I wanted to get between.
Yeah, they hated on him. They hated on him.
Yeah, they hated it. They hated it. This nigga's visiting. See, I'll tell the people here, and we already have discussed. Remember, everybody that wanted to visit with me was from either BGF, right?
Yeah.
Muslims, all the niggas that was hooked
It
up.
was real OG niggas.
All OG niggas, all the leaders, right?
Huh?
And they could send, okay, everybody, that's the point. That's the only point I wanted to make. I can build the rest of the story around that. But I'm ready to get off into the discussion today. But that's the main thing, that they took me off your visiting list and I couldn't visit you anymore because I was making contact with the whole state of California from inside the visiting room, because y'all had telephones, right?
Huh?
Y'all had phones. Y'all could call, still do. Had,
We used to have cell phones. Remember that day?
yeah, I know you had cell phone. I was just saying it so the people remember we're on the air. So I wanted to let the people know that all of y'all had cell phones and you could hook up with anything you wanted the same way we can out here, right? You could look at the internet. You could follow up, who's this nigga? What's that nigga? You could do everything from inside the penitentiary, right?
Yep.
And they could send messages to their crew, Facebook them niggas, right?
Yep.
Of course, from inside the penitentiary. That's the wonderful thing about modern communication. It's wonderful, I'm telling you. Therefore, if the government was trying to isolate me and they saw me getting rehooked up with certain people, right, then they would cut off the visits. Say, oh, you can't come in here no more. So what reason? Well, hell, it don't make no difference. You can't come in our prison anymore. Forget it. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Now remember years ago when we went up to Susanville to see your brother?
Yep.
What did they do? Stopped us at the visiting room, right? First, they didn't let us in. They said you can't wear those kind of pants in there, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I had on a long thobe, a little longer than now, all the way to the ground. So I took off my pants that I had on and let you wear them, right?
Yep.
Then they let us in the visiting room, right? Mm-hmm. Then they came in and said, your brother's in the hole. Right?
Yeah, after we was all the way in the visiting room.
Right. Do you remember I went over to the change sheets? You know, I was looking on the wall in there.
Yeah.
Because if you go to, they have a change sheet in the state of California. If you have,
DMS.
huh?
A DMS.
Right. And remember what the brothers said that was on the visiting desk. They wouldn't look at you, but they say, your brother's not in the hole. Right?
Yeah, the dude with the outside worker.
Yeah, he in the hole. But they didn't want me and you to see your brother for some reason. Okay. The point is about trying to break up communication for various reasons. Now, the other thing, since we're at it, after a while, y'all start going to the penitentiary every other week, right? For long periods of time. And remember, or you can remind me if I'm saying this right, I told y'all in 1985 and 86 that the government is using the same stuff on y'all that they use on the Soviet Union. Do you remember me said? That's what I told y'all. And ain't nothing I said the only way you can beat it is be like me. You have to be 100% excellent. That's a terrible thing to tell teenagers. Because a teenager can't do it. Y'all couldn't do it because, hell, you're a teenager. And you got more sense than I do. Generally, most teenagers do, right? That's the way you feel, this poor old guy, you know. Well, remember when I would be in the room sometime and you'd said, this is a lone, is that your brother? He finally coming, showing up? Okay. I done made the main points. Just hold on as much as you can. And I'm going to, some kind of way, associate what I had planned to talk about today. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Yeah. He'll show up eventually. Okay, the other thing I'd like to mention right now is, how are our relatives doing? Like our dear nephew. Are they acting crazy?
Oh, yeah, they definitely acting funny.
All of them, right?
Yeah.
That means nieces, nephews, da-da-da-da-da. Now, like nieces, do you remember, well, at the record shop and all the business, did all of my family have a job?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like Sherry worked at the record shop, Nina used to work there. Remember, even the people at what now, like Nina worked there. Remember that? Yeah, everybody, it was big, it was, yeah, big, everybody. Everybody was, you may not have remembered, you was kind of young, but it was mass employment in Oakland. They always talked about it. It's the best time they ever had in their life. And the same thing with Beverly Lim, Joyce, and all of them, right? When you would listen to them, you would think that's the best time out of their life, right? Yeah. Okay. So it was for everybody else. That was what we call maximum employment, and stuff like East Oakland Enterprise. You probably never heard of it. You was too young. But is your brother there yet? Oh, don't worry about it. You could just listen. I'm just going to talk. I'm going to repeat the same thing. No, I'm going to repeat it in a few days. Let me see. Where shall I start? I already said the Bismillahs, right? Okay, today's subject is about the time we're in right now. Okay, this is the best time for us as an organization. This is the best time because we're going on the offensive. And when you go on the offensive, they already try to throw stuff in the way. That's why all of this stuff is happening right now. That's why you haven't heard nothing from Khadijah, nothing from Mukhtar. They may pop up and call now, but they haven't said nothing for 3 weeks. It's been so long ago that it don't even show up on this. So that means it's long time ago. Okay? Because they've turned everything over to the family. The family is supposed to have a behavior pattern that's supposed to influence me right now. Okay? So, you have to remember, the family, my family, okay, you got to remember, like in the old days, everybody's employed and everything, da-da-da-da. After a while, if the government has 40 years or more to work on your family, they're going to get them with one way or another. They're going to get them one way or another. Why? Because they study your whole family. See, when I was left before, my family, when you got a family, a support network, all the family that's cooperating with Boss Man now, right, was cooperating with me. because people are young, enthusiastic. They never had a chance. The government never had a chance to go and mess with them. So they, it's normal. It was normal. This guy is good for our family, good for the community, good for the neighborhood, no problem. But after you come back home, come out of prison, by the time you give the government 40 years or more, he's going to study each one of your family members, right? If it's your sons and they lean toward whoever they lean, they're going to send them to jail every day, because if you're there at the masjid, you remember all those people in the masjid before that we all knew there was the police? Yeah, they was all the police. All of them. All of them. Them Negroes was the police. They was there. That was in the 80s, in the early 80s. Okay? Now, so they got many teams. You got to remember, the government got teams everywhere. And they feel like they always win. Niggas cannot beat the federal government. That's what the government feels. Or they felt like that up till now. Why do they feel that way up to now? Because they came up against someone that had a plan, had discipline, self-control, and vision. Remember what we say, we have domesticated the white man. We have to have domesticated, because they're servants. They call every week, they do this, they do that, then they don't call. That means what you do affect them, not what they do affect you. That's unheard of. That does not happen when you're dealing with the United States government and all the other levels. You got to remember where we're coming from. All the other levels of government, right? That means here in D.C., there, and all over, right? Okay, now if we understand that, that means that we have to, first, we always talked about longevity. That's important as hell. To have time. Why is it so important? Because the other movements that were successful all over the world had time to win some, lose some, and to develop. Not Negroes in America, absolutely not. When we jumped up talking crazy or talking sanity, boss man moved on us and pop, just like that, battered us down. We didn't have no time to develop, none. Therefore, we studied this all overseas, all down in South America. We're studying everything that we're involved in. We're studying it, right, to figure out exactly how we're going to do this. And when we get back here and we're in prison, we're talking to everybody, Dar al-Islam, it don't make no difference, all the movements, to find out. Of course, you already know, but you want to double check on what they did with you, what they did with you. How did it affect the people around you, right? What was the traumatic incidents in your history? Talk to all of them. Because when I was at Leavenworth, we used to run with Dar al-Islam. I don't know, it can't be but 4 guys running. We would run with them. I was supposed to be in the nation at that time, but I would run with the Dar because I was moving toward the Sunni type thing. And this is in the 70s. Therefore, because all the Sunnis had joined the Dar al-Islam movement, all the revolutionaries did not join the Nation of Islam. They joined the Dar and other people like that. So I come in Leavenworth, and we in building 63, that's receiving. So I'm doing regular fishing in the nation. So I say, we're going to have a meeting that day and come on down. Sure. We're going to have a meeting too tomorrow. Come on down. Well, basically, well, who the hell are y'all? Well, we the Sunnis. Sunnis? Who the hell is the Sunnis? Y'all all gruffy looking and with all them old raggedy beards and looking silly, right? No, that's exactly the mentality, because, huh?
It seems like the newness,
Right,
the beginnings of a transition
right.
from one phase to another.
Hey, man. So I started hanging around. I started running with the brothers, So I asked the brothers, in the nation we had all special lessons. The lessons, the better the lessons you got, the higher you would be in the know. You would know things other people wouldn't know. So I remember my best friend, I said, now, what's the special lessons that you got to get hold to? You know what he gave me? Sahih Muslim in English and the Quran. I said, what other lessons? He said, you don't worry about nothing else. But you know that good set of Sahih Muslim in English with all that wonderful commentary? Man, that's it. He say, I said, y'all ain't got no, like under the table lessons, for the captains and all of that. So that's it right there. Hey, man, it was wonderful. And then, so it was the Dar al-Islam movement was there, and Islamic Party. Islamic Party. We used to that's how I got so into Maulana Maududi and all that. It was through the Islamic Party. And Maulana Maududi came here in 72. And he got with the Islamic Party in New York, and he put his seal of approval on them. And when they sent people over here for years, the Islamic Circle said, get with the Negroes. That's what Maulana Maududi said. Because remember, in his day, Maulana Maududi was more like a Mujaddid type. So we didn't know nothing about Imam Khomeini. All we had was his writings, and they were revolutionary. But anyway, so this is, thanks to Allah for a long period of development. We can't overstate longevity and a long period of a protracted struggle. Okay, we've had that here. All the stuff that everybody would look at and they would feel sad. Oh man, y'all have to deal with this. That's wonderful. That's what a protracted struggle is. And the most beautiful thing about it is not only what you learn, but you survive. And then you change the whole battle. Psychological guerrilla warfare, that's big. You're going to change it. And then boss man accepts. He accepts that challenge. Hey, why don't we change the battle stuff to psychological? You say, shoot, the white man, what he's thinking? Shoot, I done run more niggas crazy than anybody in the world. Damn right, bring it on, nigga. That's what they saying. And then fainted incapacity is when, I do it all the time, and I don't know, it might not be working that much anymore. Fainted incapacity. That's like, oh, my back hurt. Are you walking with a cane or anything, and your opponent says, shoot, that nigga got a cane. He can't be, I just knocked the cane out of the way, right? Fainted incapacity. The Negro is brilliant. I'm telling you, the Negro is brilliant when he got time to think. Negroes didn't have time to think before. This mean old system just busted niggas up and made them sad and mad and ruined their lives. And the ones that he couldn't ruin, he just put them in prison for the people. It's still Black Panthers in the penitentiary now from those days. From those days, can you imagine? And the white man is talking about kindness and mercy. And in the Muslim country, even the dictators, they let, on Eid and all that, they let 500 people go today. You ever hear about boss man letting 500 niggas go? He don't do that. We don't have no days, Christmas and stuff like that, where we gonna let nobody go. If you got a 5 to life, we gonna figure out how much time that is, and that's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. And the law prescribed. There's no mercy, there's no kindness. I mean, there's none of that in this. So anyway, we know what we're dealing with. So therefore, we have to study the system we're dealing with, the people involved, and we have to study ourselves too. And each encounter is like a new, a step up almost, if you handle it right. After so many decades, you get the system down pretty much, and it's things like, for instance, when this happened, people who's coming here saying, I wouldn't take that, and I did. And I told the people in this language, I said, you'll never get nowhere then. You ain't gonna get nowhere. I mean, they wasn't trying to go nowhere. They was sitting around waiting to tell me what they wouldn't take that. And neither would no other Negro take nothing from another Negro. Therefore, they slaughter each other, right? They just kill each other. And they do it with precision. In all our cities, when these Negroes are slaughtering each other, they deadly. They don't slaughter no white man, not this, because other Negroes not putting them in the penitentiary. But they've taught us to do that to each other. And when he come, we do like the Negroes across the street, throw our guns in the bushes. They do that. I stand there and watch them. When the police now is civilized over there, semi. But when the Negroes was having it out and do all that stuff, when the police come, the Negroes, them bushes, little old bushes, they throw their guns in the bushes every time. And never, right? Never. You don't hear nobody shooting it out with the police. With all them guns, what's going on? Niggas got all them weapons and it ain't no shootout with the police. This is worse than the Old West. You know, them old Western, they shot it out with the sheriff all the time. Sheriff come up and try to put them in jail. They either run off in the woods or start shooting. That's what they thought that was the purpose of their gun. You don't even see in Westerns the crackers come out, okay, I give. Yeah, after emptying his gun and maybe all that stuff, said, well, boss man, I ain't got no more bullets left, so might as well surrender, right? But he ain't got no pocket full of bullets and both his 6 guns is full of, and he throw his weapon under the bush because the sheriff is there, right? You don't even see that, especially the Westerns in our days, which was closer to the way they acted in those days. You know, those Westerns from 50 years ago. You know, if the Western was 50 years ago, it was only, Arizona came a state in 1912. So a lot of us, when those movies made in those days, it was still almost like that when the movie was made. Like when they made Stagecoach in 1936, what do you think of 1936? They still carried rifles on their thing down in Arizona and them places. Arizona didn't become a state till 1912. Well, I'll get back to the subject. The subject is, we pulled off a miracle, I'm telling you. So that you'll understand, we'll try to highlight just a few. Okay. We read the ayat the other day dealing with Noah. if you don't like what I'm doing, get yourself together and all of your friends and partners and roll on us and don't give us no break. That means no parole, no anything. So that was the attitude of Noah. Now, we follow the Anbiya, and there's some ayats that we might particularly like from other prophets besides Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When we're dealing with the floods, when we're dealing with all those things, Adam or Noah, all those prophets, they might be yelling out to their son, hey, come on, get on this boat. And the son may say, I'm going to climb up me a little mountain, right? That's what it says. I'll be all right. And the wave took him away. So we know if they're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot's wife, and there was cities in those days where everybody was funny. That's what all the people said, hey man, girls, we don't want no girls, right? That's what they said, right? We want them, of course they was angels, we want them pretty boys, or them boys, whoo, look at them boys there, and they didn't know they'd get struck by lightning or something, messing with the crew. But Noah said, hey, why don't you take my daughters, right? Hey, they ready, they are full grown and everything. You think we want girls just because we boys? Hey, we don't do that stuff. We don't hang with that stuff around here, man. You keep them girls. Who wants a girl just because we boys, right? So anyway, that was there are certain attitudes and certain, when we talk about we follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the whole Quran gives examples of other prophets and messengers that we can associate with our struggle. Surely Abraham was an ummah all by himself. Yeah. Inna Ibrahim kana umatan kanitan lillahi wa lam yakun min al-mushrikeen. Abraham was a ummah. Can you imagine they use the word ummah for one man? That's not normal in Quranic lore in Arabic, but they use the word ummah for one man. He's the community. It's one of our favorite ayat. That means that we have to be prepared at some time to be like either Noah, right, or Ibrahim, because they lived at a time when they were the ummah, right? They carrying la ilaha illallah, only them, ain't nobody else running around with it, right? They were ummah all by themselves. That means that they carried a great burden. But of course, they get great blessings too. So therefore, when we figuring out what we're going to do, we have to organize ourselves in many cases, according to exactly what we're presented with. And in America, we've been presented with failed movements, not because they was wrong or bad, but at that time, they hadn't developed, they didn't have time to go out in the woods like the Chinese and fight against the system, and in the system kill off half your people, and you duck and dodge and build up a little more and go back and forth. We didn't have that opportunity here in America. We lived in big cities and all of that, and when they pushed the button and said, there those niggas are, the police came right away and knocked us over. And then they had all kind of other criminal activities to isolate us, cut us off, and identify us. And all of them were mechanized. And they're showing everybody what the government did. right? They're showing everybody what the government did. What is it about Fred Hampton? He's always been one of our favorites. Then the last week, what's the lady, Lady Day, right? Okay. We got to get out there and tell everybody what they're saying is true about them people. But they've been doing that all along. You got to jump over where they was 50 and 60 and 70 years ago, and we have to prepare the people from now. That's our job. That's why we've been here all along. That's why whatever we put up with, no big deal. So we put up with this. We put up with this because this is our job. We put up with this because it's our responsibility, right? And we got plenty of stuff to show why we do it. Here's our brothers, the whole line. Suppose you see this, and what would you think? This average person would say, well, they got Imam Jamil, H. Rap Brown. They have killed this man on the ground because of Frankie. What was the dog? Was the dog named Frankie or something? A dog. And they lit him up. And they had people come, they had them come over and visit the little thing they had. They might have had computer parts, something dumb like that. I don't do that. Nobody can call me and say, oh, we want you just to move that stolen refrigerator from here to there. If you touch it, they'll blow you away. Or as soon as you touch it, the alarm will go off and you got your fingerprints on the refrigerator and they'll come in, they stole the refrigerator, right? We're not lucky. Well, we are lucky. God's fortunate, lucky. People have tried to set us up every day, all the time. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. They physically assaulted us because that's the last straw. Okay, we put up with this stuff so long that Mukhtar went to boss man and told him, I didn't study this nigga. I'll get him for you, boss man. That's what he told him. And he feels like the dumbest nigga in the world. Because you could tell the day he went there, what he told him, by the first move he make, right? If you've been watching long enough, soon as the Negro opened his mouth or step his foot out, you could tell that boss man gave him the credentials to do that. And they can do anything. Here's Mukhtar right here. That's why I say don't worry about what the people do in California. We already have our plan. The plan is the same. We could have moved on this stuff years ago and won the case. We can't lose this stuff because we have the pictures, we have the history. Suppose we go into court, although they've stole, I bet you can't take a bank account and give it, so you can't even do that. They did it. We got that covered. But suppose we don't. It makes no difference. Just like we wrote our As-Sabiquns, just like we got all of these. We'll be on the highway. When we talk about sleep under a bridge, that means here's how they lost on everything. It's like one of the brothers used to travel with us sometime. He asked, well, what's the boss man? I said, oh, it's kind of taking it easy right now. So the FBI came by this. He said, maybe they think you're too old now. I said, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Why is it wonderful? Because that's the way they think. After you get a certain age, you quit. You don't quit, you just retire. You don't feel like it anymore. It's exactly opposite. We was resting on. We are right now fully souped up, fully dressed, fully ready to go. Right now. And what does that mean? That means that all of these things, oh yeah, Masjid al-Islam, there's Mukhtar. This man is so dumb, he got caught with all of this stuff, and they're taking me out of The masjid. That's wonderful. It's wonderful. Why are they taking us out of the masjid? Because we have global connections. And they're sad about those connections. But they're sadder about the Negro connections. You could see it on their faces when I'd go in the visiting room to visit my son when he was in Folsom, right? And all the brothers, the different brothers, they was coordinating their activity with when I'm coming. And it took them at least 2 hours to figure that out. And after 4 or 5 times, I can't come anymore. It's too late. I could have had one visit with him and that would have did the job. It didn't make no difference. But they think we got the nigga isolated. But when you pipe in with whoever those people might be, those are whole structures, whole organizations. And they knew and they know. When I always talk about Cadillac, you know what I mean? And I talked about being in the federal penitentiary. Well, at Lompoc's a California penitentiary, the police have it on the record. If everybody shift over and are coming to visit and sitting in the bleachers with so-and-so, pretty soon the government gonna know, right? And they'll take that nigga and send him out to camp anywhere. Not that they want him at camp, but they'd rather have him out there by himself or with 2 or 3 people, right? Than sitting in here organizing. But they slow. They slow. The other things is patience. Sabru wa nifsul iman. Everybody know that getting married is half of faith. But wasabru, patience, is half of iman. Wasabru wa nifsu, nifs half of iman. The ability to take your time, the ability to hold on. Our people didn't have a chance to. Now I just want to tell you the way I see all of this. I looked at all of the brothers and they either made brothers old or scared and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what they did. Now that's not bad. That's not bad, but I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for the struggle and whatever it called for. Okay? So we may not have nothing against the brothers that said, for instance, if the people, you go into exile and the people don't help you, the black people, black power, and then you go and you're living in an African country, you don't know the language, you don't know, and you need help, you need money. You know, all movements, people collect money to send money, you know, that's what they do. Negroes didn't do that. That's why there's such an appreciation. When I went overseas, I looked for the Negroes to give them money. And they all remember that. They don't forget. You know, Imam Jamil came back before I got there, but they came back for a certain reason. They didn't have no money. They couldn't make a living. They were not, if they were, one of my friends was a doctor. He killed his wife. But he had his passport and everything in a phony name. The only one he could work for, I looked in a magazine. I went to the doctor, and Doc Calloway was my doctor. He said, did you know Dr. So-and-so? So I said, did you and Doc go to school together? He said, no, but he showed me an Ebony magazine. Maybe if you look in that, all the Ebony magazines from 90, 92, 93, maybe even 88 or 89. But you'll find in there about a friend I used to travel with, Dr. John Branyan. So he was hooked up with Johnson Publications. All of them was that Negro in crowd during the 50s and the 60s. And he was the biggest Negro doctor you can imagine in Chicago. Shoot, right at the teaching center there. He went to school in Lausanne, Switzerland, so he spoke perfect French. We used to travel together, and I used to look at Doc. I said, Doc, how do you make your mouth? You know, to do it. So how do you make your mouth do all of that? You know, so how do you speak French? You know, of course, we learn a little bit ourselves later. The point is this. He was Idi Amin's doctor. That's the only job he could get over there, is Idi Amin's doctor. Because Idi Amin would know he's a real doctor, and Idi Amin, I don't know what the passion he had for doctors, but he was always had, you know, and you'll see Doc in there in that magazine. He's sharp as a tack, got a white suit on, had a drink in his hand, and he had a few years of really good life, you know, as Idi Amin's doctor. Something happened, he came back here and went to the penitentiary. Anyway, so we have a no slip-ups period. You can't guarantee that you're not going to have certain problems, but not the dumb problems. We're not going to get anybody to make us fight before we're ready to fight. They're not going to deter us from where we're trying to go. They're not going to do that because we have to hope. We look at it like as As-Sabiqun. You're carrying the banner for all the Negroes. Well, for all of everybody that's Muslim and all that stuff. We call it for humanity. In America, they don't have no people or person like that. All the people you see, Jesse Jackson Sharpton, the whole list, they tattletales. The white man then picked them and chose them. There's a lawyer, the lawyer you asked me about the other day, what's his name in Oakland? No, I think of it, this is the biggest lawyer. You know where they got those Negro lawyers that every time they get a big case, they call them and they come in. Well, there's one in Oakland. I'll think of his name in a minute. I went to his office and I showed him all these pictures. Not him, I showed his name. But they didn't want my case. They didn't want it. They didn't take it, right? They didn't take it. They didn't take it. No. And they were telling me how you can't do this and you can't do that. I said, I don't need nobody to tell me what I can't do. So anyway, but everybody was telling me if you're going to get a big Negro lawyer that wins all the cases, then get him. And we're about the same age. So I said, absolutely not. Number one, in America, all those lawyers winning them cases or carrying that title, they arrange for them. See, you hang around long enough, you get the whole game on everybody. So they got the old dark-looking Negro lawyer now can't hardly talk. Any case anybody get him, right? I did get the law, and God knows that to get the law, we got to protect our citizens, right? That's the way the Negro talk. I'm telling you, you think I'm lying. Y'all seen him before, right? Everybody, he can't speak English good. The nigga can't hardly talk. I mean, it ain't nothing wrong with him, but I mean, he's the chosen and he's a selected Negro. What's his name?
You're talking about Crump right now. I'm trying to find
The other one's name. Yeah, and I got it everywhere. I remember. Here's the point, though. I'm trying to tell you.
Burris.
Huh?
John Burris.
Burris. Yeah, Burris. Everybody was telling me to get him. And John Burris, yeah. Okay. But here's the point. Longevity gives you time to see everything for what it is. We didn't know that most of those white attorneys, right, that we were getting in the black days were working hand in hand with the government. They're revolutionary attorneys. They don't have no revolutionary attorneys. They just don't. It may be one guy, but he never wins a case. Nothing, because the government, this guy is dangerous. Zero in on him. So his briefcase will have holes in it and his shoes will have, he'll be starving to death. If you see a big flamboyant attorney, he's selected by them. They select, okay. So we want you to give us Johnny Boy. You give us him, we'll give you 10 other big cases. You can win all 10 of them. Because we don't care about them niggas. We'll come back and get them next year. That's the way it works. People actually go down and get a lawyer thinking the lawyer is going to fight their case. Even the big Negroes, they drag the Negroes along. Then they get to the day, you better take this deal. You could have got a public defender and got that. That's what they do. 94% of all the cases in court are solved how? Plea bargain. Somebody's not going to court. Okay, let me get back to the... So, our cycle that we're in, our struggle that we're in, is a struggle to liberate the people, to liberate their mind, and to liberate ourselves, and to harmonize and unify with the people of America. Okay? Now, going along all the way, Boss Man had little cutoffs where the nigga can't last but this long. And then you go a little further, and you begin to trap Boss Man in. Like we'd have a little lectures about this and a little lectures about that. You look at our series of lectures. Let's say, just go back 20, 25 years. Even if you go back 30 years from here, all of those lectures are stage by stage. We're challenging the system, and every few lectures have a few heavy points, right, against the system. But you go on and you have a few more nice, challenging lectures, a few more points that in normal times would get you killed. But you're not doing it every day. You're not doing it every lecture. Then you hit a period where you might be hitting them, boom, 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 but it's too late for Boss Man to do anything about it because you're out in the public arena, right? You don't break the law, you don't do nothing, So then they have to silence you. They're going to use their system to silence you, of course, right? They're going to use their system, and you're going to play right along with them. One of my partners is a boxer. He told me, he said, this wasn't long ago, less than 10 years ago. He said, you can't keep taking those headshots. I said, that's Matthew Saad Muhammad. I don't know if y'all remember him. He was from Philadelphia. He was a Muslim. And he could fight good. He was a light heavyweight, but he led with his head. and they would batter his head so he could fight good. But after about 5 years, his brain is scrambled. So I told my friend who's a boxer, said hey, it's not headshots. I said, we didn't change this to psychological guerrilla warfare. Of course, they don't know what I'm talking about. And for him, the system, they believe in the system. They cooperate with the system. And so they think that, and they think about you in older times. Like if we was friends since we was 12 years old, they still think about you in maybe when you were going through those challenges in 1970. I remember this one. We just ran up a hill. We'd run out in the woods, up in the hills. And he said, you think anybody's watching us? This is during the period of paranoia when helicopters flying over your house, shaking your house. And so you say, yeah, of course somebody is watching, Because at that same spot, a couple of weeks before, the green truck park rangers, come and stop us. We're running up in the hills and take all of our names. What is a park ranger doing in the hills? You don't take white folks' names, right? So I just said, of course. So when they think about you, sometimes they think of you as 40 years or 50 years back, not now. Right? 40, 50 years ago, we got to go through a cycle where the first go-around, the first round, you don't win with boss man usually. Nobody else does, right? You don't win with that round. If you survive, you've won. And if you survive and you go around the world, you have its happy days, right? And not only survive and go around the world, but people are studying and they make movies about. So if you think I'm lying, you just go watch Superfly, the first one. Then watch Superfly TNT and see what you come up with. And then go watch, what's the other one, the one where they was all in Oakland, the Mac. Watch that one. That came out when I went already in prison. But that was, everybody's talking about me in Oakland. So they take all the famous Negroes and put them in one movie in Oakland. So people that talk about them. They don't know what the system done did, but the system know what it's doing, right? Because the Big Hank went to Africa, Big Hank did this, and on and on and on. And the system can't stand it. We done made this nigger more popular than when he was here. And they're making recordings. Everybody is saying the time or the era of Big Hank, all of that kind of stuff. So the government thought they was winning, but they lost. Because nobody's going to forget East Oakland Enterprise when all the niggas is working and driving Cadillacs too in those days. Niggas was walking in them days and catching the bus. In 1960s and 70s, everybody caught the bus. They didn't just jump on. Just think about D.C. You think everybody was driving up and down the street in D.C. in those days? No, they caught the bus. Now here, everybody with us is driving Cadillacs. Now in those days, a Cadillac now is just any other old car, but not in those days. It was a chariot of the gods. Tell the truth. If anybody remember that time, hey man, you think I'm lying? Okay, I'm telling you what it was. And that's the way they felt about it. And everybody with us, East Oakland Enterprises, had big new Cadillacs. And personally, I could see one of my old friends walking down the street. They'll tell you, think I'm lying, call Oakland. Man, how you doing? I ain't seen you in 6 months. Man, I ain't doing too good. Man, I'm trying to. Well, come on here with me. Take him down to the Cadillac place. Pick out one of them. Nigga, pick out one of them. Man, you don't be messing with me. I'm too broke, too poor to have. Nigga, pick you a Cadillac. I'm telling you, call Oakland and find out. And this is not one time. This is a lot of times. Because Cadillacs made you happy. And he was sad. Now I'm young and stupid, or thinking, if I get him a Cadillac, he'll be happy. He's not doing too good. But that was a lot of fun. And the nigga, when you drive out off the Cadillac lot and he's standing there trying to figure out, is this real or not? But so many people heard about it happening, they'd be waiting for me to come down the street, you know, with the mouth stuck out so I could go buy my Cadillac. I mean, I knew it, you know. I would do the same thing if somebody, Negro, was buying people Cadillacs. Man, I'd be parked in front of the house, parked in front of the record shop. I'd be parked on the street. I'd be in front, you know where people camp out at them stores till they open up? I'd be right in front of it and be waiting till the brother come. But that was fun. What people learned was, well, they didn't learn it, I learned it, that wealth is not for just yourself. When you get to a certain point, spread it around. That is dangerous. Because all the other big Negroes, you know, they got money, but you know who they got it for? Their own, black ass. They got it for themselves. That's all. That's all. Or a little crew, maybe their kids get a little, maybe their woman get a little bit. But the niggas got money for themselves. They didn't care nothing about the community. Okay? That's why that type of attitude, that's one of the things that keep you alive. See, Allah know who he keeping alive or not. You know what I mean? Yeah, Allah be keeping and so he know what's in you and what you're going to do with everything. Right? He already know. And this is the way we feel about it. We're thankful for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm telling you, super duper thankful for Allah and for the great gifts that he has given us. I'm going to say a little bit more before wrapping up, because what I was going to say originally today, we're going to make sure that we have an audience. Because you know, like, hey, the phone's breaking up. You still there? Assalamu alaikum? Long gone. Okay, I might as well turn this boy off. Okay, here's what that means. That means if I went out and took a little stroll just for a few minutes, somebody would have breezed through the paperwork or got the hint from the phone last night which way we're going this morning. That's why all of this the other day, just plug everything in, and it comes up perfect, right? None of that works today. I can't hear you. Right? And then I'm going to tell you though, this stuff about family, I was talking on the phone last night and I told, some people was telling me, the family did this, the family did that. I said, my family has held up well. And talking about my sons, especially, I say, you niggas have held up very well. So y'all held up 10 or 15 years with straight, you know, we with you and all that. I said, they had to put you in jail for half of your life. Until, you know what I mean, you begin to, because they'll tell you, this, like they told you to tell them, this is your daddy's fault. And they'll tell all your children. Because I know Fatima was saying, Dad, if you was that, they would kill you. That's what Bahia done told her. That's what Bahir done told him, And money and wealth disappear, it's because they disappeared. They disappeared, and they disappeared. But you got to remember, everybody have their special thing that they have to get over in order to accomplish their mission. Long enough, I don't hold that like my son was telling me what my other relatives are doing right now. I say, I got something I want to tell you. Yeah, I know what it is. I said, what is it? He said that you're going to help all of them anyway. When you get your big money, you're going to give her. I said, that's exactly right. Of course I am. I'm Big Hank. What else would I do? Right? That's the reputation. They tattletales because the government made them tattletales. And then here's something you have to learn as you go along. What's the limit? Because people say, man, that nigga's a snitch. So how much pressure, how long did it take for them to make the person a snitch? Right? Did they come out snitching? Or was they put under pressure? Right? If your family is with you all over these times and trying to block you, cover your back, all of that, and then 40 years later they have changed, it's because the government have selected them and hit at them and either punished or offered them over and over again, right? Till they flip up. That's not bad. That's the first thing a revolutionary have to learn. First of all, don't put people under more pressure, right, than they're designed for or want to be under, right? Like some people say, you in this movement like gangsters do. You in this? Well, you got to do that. I was watching I come across information about the FLN, Front for the Liberation in Algeria, a revolutionary, a nationalist movement. One of the members took a little money to buy his wife a refrigerator. And they killed him. He was saying, I just bought my wife a refrigerator. I just said, so what? Good. Why? Because technically it ain't no big deal. You shouldn't make it a habit of just putting out, oh, y'all steal a little money here, steal a little. But you can't, if you kill everybody that takes a little money to buy their wife a refrigerator, right? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? It's the same with the Negroes here. The Negroes here are snitches and tattletales and collaborators because they don't know any better. Well, I can't say that now. I think they should know better by now. But eventually, out of 100 of them, maybe 1 or 2 might get the message. Whatever it is, I ain't going to do nothing to them. And anybody that got any sense knows, like, I wouldn't have to take this stuff from Mukhtar and them. When this happened, I'm visiting all the gangsters. The gangsters shoot niggas, just any nigga. They just shoot them. I was flooded with what you want to do with that nigga. Right? Because people like that. Because it's easy to do, and this is old country bumpkin nigga, right? That's what they look at it. It's country bumpkin, you Big Hank, what the nigga? And some people would foam at the mouth when they would see pictures. They would foam, you know what I mean? Because they maybe looked at me different than that. Okay? In the long run, there has to be, or there should be. I don't care what the government think or what the people think. From the Quran, from the Hadith, we've learned, number one, that Allah is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Listen. Allah's mercy outweighs His wrath. All of that. Be kind to the dwellers of the earth so that he who dwells in paradise be kind to you, right? That's the hadith, right? That means if something like this would have happened 40 years ago, I'd have went with the crew. Yeah, we bumped that nigga. In fact, they wouldn't have done that then because they could smell it, you know. Well, they could see it. They know better. But then they have their little tests and they feel like, okay, he's softened up. You know, he's different than before. So we're going to do this. And in a way, they're right. But in the long run, they're absolutely wrong. What I mean to say is all of this stuff, we are now, let's call it in the driver's seat. Boss man have been domesticated. Domesticated. And anybody could see it, I mean, but they don't, some kind of way, nobody sees it. Let's call boss man the white man for a minute. The white man is the laughing stock of the world. He just had a meeting with China, right? And come out telling them, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And some man uses an old out-of-date cracker. You're so stupid. You know? Like, we're not putting up with that now. We just was doing that before. Old Chinese laundry man, old bossy, you know. And they tricked boss man. We're going to get these Chinamen, make them the warehouse or the storehouse of the world, and we're gonna let them make everything. We're going to close down all our factories, which they did. And we're going to bring them through wealth to democracy. And Chinaman said, democracy, my foot. Who wants that? And thank you very much for making us wealthy. Hundreds of millions of people, right? Wealthy and just getting started. And your train go up down the street at 60 miles an hour, his goes at 300 miles an hour, across the country, whoop, you're there. Right? He's so far out of date, but this is history now. You got to remember. This don't just happen to boss men here. This has happened to everybody. It's a historical process. And when it happens, it's a shock to everybody. Now, there's room, maneuver room in that for us. And at this time, that's why we're making the move at this time. That's why we're making the move. And whatever they think, they can't pay their taxes. They are stupid. And if somebody here owes us some money for tax, hell, they can keep it. They can keep it in their house. If we gave anybody any money to bury their daddy or uncle or whoever, right? If he buried it, it's just a slip of the tongue. Anyway, they can keep it. They can keep it. Very simple. We start tomorrow with our flyers, with our boxes, and we'll go along. They'll think like, well, they'll go out for 3 or 4 days and then they'll quit. That's what we trained them to think. Like we'll go out down to the care and stand out there for 3 or 4 days, and then we'll call it a day. You know, we're just training to do that. We're going to the way we got started. And that means we travel the country up and down. And we fasting time is here, all that stuff. And we have a practice run. Go down here just to see how you feel about it. That's what we're going to do. And if we have to pay one now, another one a little later, another one a little later, we just pay it off. And win the game. Why? What game are you going to win? the game of meeting and seeing everybody. Yeah. We know what we've been doing on their behalf, sitting here with our feet up, doing a little of this, taking a walk, studying, da-da-da-da-da. That's what he wants you to do. He don't want you out meeting everybody and doing everything. That's what we're going to do. And that's what we're going to do because that's what's happening now. And we're going to do that, and we're going to grow, and we're going to develop, and we're going to institutionalize everything we've been doing all along. Why? Because this is the time to do it. It wasn't last month or 2 months ago or 2 years ago. It wasn't the time. This is the time. The last thing, from Stalingrad to Oakland. This is wonderful. Okay, y'all know where Stalingrad was, right? It's on the Volga. It was a city in Russia. If you want to see the movie, just look to any Enemy at the Gate. It tells you about the Battle of Stalingrad. Stalingrad is a city on the Volga in Russia. Now you got to remember, white folks here got us thinking about D-Day and all that. That didn't win nothing. 5 out of 6 Germans that was killed in World War II was killed by Russians. They call it the Great Patriotic War. We've been knowing this for decades, but we say from Stalingrad to Oakland, this is an old CD here. This is very old. Well, it's old. Because we've been had this waiting for the time that we choose to do what we're going to do. This has been on the books for a long time. It ain't nothing new. This is not a new policy. It's been the policy. Everything we've been doing has just been leading up to this period. There's different periods in the struggle. And this is the period. It's a great period. And look at the period we're starting this in. The period when America the Great is visibly falling. So much so that it cannot not fall. Everything is working perfect. Everything in the paperwork. Boss man talking to crazy to people, and so that means they're going to change they're going to start using their currency and not use the dollar. When they start that, you better get you some gold, because the American dollar is the global currency right now. That means all the dope that comes up here and they make billions of dollars, they take it down there, right? And the government here estimates how much money they take from here down there, and then they print that all over. If you lived in South America, if you lived in any country, all the wealthy people got tons of dollars. If they all sent them back up here, they would collapse the whole system. Because they estimate how much money goes out, right? And then they print that. They could just print that free, right? So if $100 billion, well, we'll just say a year, not just more than that goes out a year. They print $100 fresh billion, and they just get to print that, right? That's just new, fresh money, as they used to call it. And they got all that other money down there. And they're going to keep that money down there. But then, when they change the money system, that will be just like paper. And if you think boss man got trouble now, you think America got trouble now, shh. Okay, maybe you don't realize that great states that used to be so famous California and all of us, go to the coast, go to California. Go on out there and see what it looks like. People are running out of California. They're running out so fast you wouldn't believe it. They just running out. They're going anywhere but California. And it'd break your heart, you know what I mean, to see what a beautiful state, what happened to a beautiful state. It burns up every summer. It may not burn that much this year because it's got plenty of water out there in the hills. But by the late summer, don't worry about it. It's all over. It's all over because, and all of this rain that they're having right now is going to grow stuff. It's going to grow all them bushes in LA, in the LA hills, and they're going to get big. Then they're going to get dry and drier. And somebody's going to throw a match out there, and the wind's going to catch them, and all those big houses with the swimming pools in LA, it'll burn them down. Because this is a good year for water, and they're going to have tons of water. But it's going to dry up. So they got 2 seasons in California. I didn't mean to go to this. They got the rainy season, like right now. You know what color California is? Green. It's green everywhere. I mean, beautifully green. And it's brown here because it's got 2 seasons. Here it has 4 seasons, right? 4 seasons. There they got the wet season and the dry season. And the dry season, when it kick in May, June, July, man, by the end of July, sometime it start early, it start in June, by the time August, September. And the hottest month in California is September, 100 degrees and stuff, in the nice part of California. It'll get that hot in Oakland for a little while. September, October, it's not going to rain till, if they get lucky, November. There's going to be fire season. And all that green stuff that grew from this wonderful rain right now, good God Almighty, it's going to burn the place down. It happens every year. And then they have the Santa Ana winds. It's like a funnel. You know how wind heats up the fire? Them, good God Almighty. Anybody that moved to California is technically crazy. We didn't know any better. It's nice. Everybody get jobs. And that was 70, 80 years ago, something like that. 70 years ago. Here's the point, dear believers. And it didn't. The society was still balanced, you know. That was in the old days. The forest and the deer. You know, I used to work in the forest, and I'm going to close in a minute. You know, at forestry camp and all that. And I learned something, that I liked working in the forest. I actually just liked the forest. I just like it. It wouldn't work to me. They thought it was work, but it wouldn't work to me. I liked it. I even liked fighting fires, forest fires and stuff. But I tell you, your boss man is finished. It don't make no difference what. That's the way the qadr of Allah is. It doesn't make no difference whether you like it or not, or whether you make a dam here to hold a little water. It doesn't make any difference. They're going to burn. Allah's going to send the wind on them crackers and Negroes, of course, nowadays, and burn everybody up. Does anybody remember those fires in California last year, year before last? It's unbelievable. It's stuff nobody ever heard of. I'm going to stop in a minute, but look. They got tornadoes within fires, like the car fire up there in Redding. Tornadoes, you know what tornadoes are? Wind. You know what wind does to fire? Heats it up. That's why it ain't like fires we used to have in the old days where the fire, oh man. And people still don't get it. They got a plan to outsmart nature. This is not the wrath of God. This is something, you don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Okay, and they getting burned up out there. The governor of California was crying. I don't know if y'all saw that news. He was crying on it. This is just, it's just, he was crying real tears. You could see him. Politicians play, but this boy was not playing. This was serious. And fires used to burn a little bit here, a little bit there. Santa Rosa, go up there and look. Look on. Well, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Dad.
Hey, where'd you come from?
Shit, man, Terrell called me this morning, but I was not.
You
You called me this morning, 10:30, like you said?
Of course I did.
Of course you did, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well-
was knocked out, but you said the thing started at 11:30 or something, didn't you?
That's 11:30 your time, not my time. It started here. It's 3 o'clock or something.
It starts at 3 o'clock?
No. It started 1:30 here. I called you at 1:30. Remember, that's 10:30 there. Oh, don't worry about it. We just here having a good time. We're gonna go over the stuff we was talking about last night.
Right.
The what's going on with the family, the dumb stuff they doing, right?
Everybody doing it. Yeah, it's stupid out here.
Yeah, it's stupid. Of course it's stupid. The white man told everybody to be stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
They trying to steal stuff that's unstealable, right?
Well, ain't nothing left to steal.
That's what I know, and they trying to steal that. That's unbelievable.
Ain't nothing left to steal. Shit. Terrell ain't doing too bad. He ain't doing too bad, but he ain't, ain't nobody really got nothing. He got his own little thing, got his car, that's the thing. I'm talking about around the world, up there, MacArthur, all around. Everybody doing no good.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're gonna do good. We're doing good now.
Yeah, we always do good.
Well, not always. It seems like, yeah. Well, I mean, sure. Anyway, I was just calling. It's a little too late now. I was going to talk about some of the stuff we was talking about last night, and I was going to put it in the form of the stage that we're in now. So we're in the stage of basically kicking behind and taking names. Now, I know you don't believe it. We fixed to break
Why you always say that, man?
No, I don't say that. I say it because you hesitate sometime. If I say we're doing well, you'll look at what they doing out there, the niggas doing, and you'll think that I'm not really doing good. And you'll hesitate. I know you don't think it now, but you'll hesitate for about 2 seconds. You don't do that now. You're saying right quickly, yeah, you're doing fine, I believe it, But as a pattern, if you looked at it from where you're sitting, it would look like them niggas doing this, them niggas doing that. Then, you would think, oh, they taking my poor father to jail, they doing this, they doing, it don't look good, right?
No, it's not that it don't look good, Dad. It don't feel good.
Now, I know. If it don't feel good to you, how you think I should feel?
No.
But I feel, you see me grin. Okay, let me ask you this. Smiling. When I went to the hospital with my head busted, what did the black lady say? They was sitting there. They said, this is the first time I ever seen anybody smiling after they've been brutalized like that, right? You remember that? Them two little black ladies that was there at the desk?
I remember what you said,
Yeah, they was, how is he smiling so much? Right? And what was I saying? This is just what we needed, huh?
They said that you were in good spirits to have your head open.
They're not open, busted open. It's different. It's busted open. Anyway, no, y'all just hang on, hold on, and we'll go over the stuff Tuesday night for us here. That means it'll probably be if it's 6 o'clock here, it'll be
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock there. Right. So just be ready for around 3 to 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
Wait a minute. You said for me to be ready from 3 o'clock this time?
3 o'clock your time. We do programs in the evening out here. So if we start at 6, let's say, then you be ready at 3, right?
I'll be ready.
Okay.
Oh, you know what?
What?
I gotta go to the Terrell give me a ride to the I have to go to the tax place. People gonna do the taxes today.
Do what taxes? The taxes for the house?
No.
Right, okay.
They making me. I guess evidently I get one of them stimulus checks or something. I guess.
Oh, well, I declare, you can share with your poor father. How much you gonna get?
Huh?
How much you gonna get?
I don't know. That's why I'm going to.
Well, don't worry about it. I'll talk to you the day before. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll have it set up for the time. I'll tell the brothers here. And if we want to do it earlier, like tomorrow, or we want to do it Wednesday, it's our schedule. We do basically what we want.
All right. Okay.
But I'm also gonna talk about the foolishness that that everybody's talking about right now, right out there. Yeah, it's foolishness.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
what did he say? What'd you say? What's that now?
Leroy and Sherry.
Dear brother, do you know what our family used to call my brother?
Yeah.
What we used to call him? We used to call him Kingfish, because that's the way he act, Kingfish. He used to act like, see, y'all like the Sanford and Son. What was that, Red Fox? But we all liked, remember I used to turn the TV and tell y'all don't watch that stuff because it pollutes your mind. Then I'd come in the house and feel the TV and it'd be hot and it'd be on Channel 5, the same place Sanford and Son come on. Anyway, it's no big deal. But we used to watch Amos and Andy.
Right.
And that was a character, I don't know if you remember that. It was a character.
And I seen Amos and Andy. I never. It was a little bit before me, but.
Right. But there was a Negro on there named Kingfish. He swindled everybody all the time. That's like my brother, Leroy. All of us is still, we call, Buddy, myself, and Slim. We call Leroy Kingfish. You seen the Kingfish today? That's the way he would steal anything you had. He would he just was terrible. But like I say, I'm gonna close in a minute. I'm gonna give all the family that's trying to steal. They trying to steal the house. When I get this $100 million, I know you think it's straight. We're gonna help the whole family. You got to remember the house that they trying to steal. Right.
Come on, the house.
Yeah, our house right there.
Yeah.
You remember how we got the house, right?
We had to go to court.
No, we didn't have to go to court.
And when we was doing it, not this house, yeah, but how we got the house from Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry and them, we got the house because we paid. Look, it's a long story. But when Slim passed away, he gave me his share of the house. He said, you can, and Juanita, my dear sister, and no, he died. Look, Leroy is deadly. When Slim died, you know that tornado he used to have?
Yeah, that great tornado.
That great tornado. My dear brother was there in 10 minutes, had snatched that car up and was gone with the pink slip and everything.
God damn.
That's the way that's why we call him Kingfish. He don't leave nothing. Look, but we love him. He's king. We know that that's who he is. I don't believe he can even help it. I don't think he can help it. You know what he told me? We was at at the richest point, one of the richest points in my life. Do you remember when you was a kid and they brought you down to Mexico and we stayed at the, right, and the whole crew was there?
Yeah.
That was an organizational meeting. That's what it was.
Yeah, D.O.
Huh? No, everybody was there. It was at the border. It was at Tijuana, but it was on the Mexican side. So anyway, it was wonderful because 2 weeks before that, I had a meeting with Leroy. You know what he told me? Because, see, he was staying at the Ramada Inn. Of course, I was paying all the bills. I told him come down and see me. And I was staying at a regular Mexican type hotel. And you know, I had got stingy. Remember when I came home? When I left, I was the richest Negro in the world. When I came home, I was living like a poor man. Remember, I left with big Cadillacs. When I came back, I had a Volkswagen, right?
Volkswagen.
Yeah, a little Volkswagen. Okay, because I had learned about wealth. But anyway, we had a meeting at the hotel down in Mexico. So I looked like I was starving to death and poor and stuff. Of course, I was rich. And he told me, you know, if it gets any worse, you could go out and you could start begging. No, it's unbelievable. And I was just thinking to myself, with all these poor people in Mexico, a nigga would make at least 5 or 6 pesos, which is 2 cents a day. You know, 2 or 3 cents. And a nigga too. And, but that's the way he felt about it. You know, like he didn't say, hey man, if you need a little money, I'll send you some. I don't have much, but I'll send you some. He didn't say that. No, indeed. But that's my dear brother. And the clothes, when I went down to court, when he went down to court in Florida, he told the judge, that's not me, that's my brother. You know. And my father knew and Wayne knew, but he didn't know who I knew. But when I was down there in Florida and Marshall was saying, oh, your name is Reams. Hey man, your brother came in the court the other day and told the judge, this ain't me, that's my brother. He's out of here. Nobody else did like that. But I mean, because you've always been like that, you know. No, you love animals and they love you. I was watching y'all laying on the bed the time I was out there and them mutts and y'all was just slobbing at the mouth. I mean, you just love them, dog. Tell the truth.
Yeah, I love my dog.
Of course you love your dog, and they love you. I mean, it's like in D.C. they say, if you want a friend, get a dog. And I know why you like them so, well, you like them naturally, but see, after messing around with niggas for so long, you know you can't get no nigga. You wouldn't lay around with no nigga like that, like you do with your dogs, because niggas steal everything in the house, right?
Yeah, but I don't have niggas around me.
I know, but I'm saying you don't generally like niggas that much. You don't like them, nobody else does either. But they like dogs. Anyway, it's a long story. It was nice talking to you. I'm going to go on and close out for the day. And I'll see you soon. All right? Assalamu alaikum.